Welcome to a video tutorial about STAR CBM. I am Lori Mack and I will be walking you through a slideshow Tanya Schertz and I created in the spring to present. Please feel free to stop at any time since I will not be reading every single slide to you, but rather you can pause it and read it at your own pace. Just to let you know, I'm not a certified trainer by Renaissance, but kind of learned the program through trial and error. So I'm hopefully presenting this to you so that you are able to do this program without all the error part that I went through. So I'll go ahead and get started here. So why STAR CBM? ODE is requiring that kindergarten students be screened for dyslexia. They have just recently switched it to next year. They had the requirement of January 2023, but I believe it's been pushed back for a year. But regardless, this is something that would be very useful to have in your classroom and help track students and screen for them, especially if you have any type of red flags for your students. The program, we already have access to it, so it seems like a program, kind of a no-brainer to use, and it's very user-friendly. These are the characteristics of dyslexia. Again, I'm not going to read all of these for you. And these are the measures that STAR CBM can screen for you. So you can do any of these types of assessments with your students, and it will give you results on how they do and where they are age-wise and grade-wise, and different benchmarks are available to you. So the pros and cons of STAR CBM, it's very user-friendly. The program scores the entries for you. It's a short 1-minute assessment. You can edit after the test is given, especially if you realize you made a mistake in your grading, and then it graphs the results for you. The only cons that Tanya and I could figure out was that if students inserted or added words, especially in their fluency passage, there's nowhere on there to mark it or add it. And then we're also not sure if the data will transfer to the next year. So all the STAR CBMs that we were able to finish last year, we're not sure how that will show up in this year's student data. So hopefully it will be there. If not, we had made all kinds of copies of it last year. Here are the different CBM assessments that can be given by grade level. So again, pause the video if you need to. The thing that's nice about STAR CBM is that all the colors match up to what you are typically used to seeing with the STAR assessments in general. So if you see a student in red, you know that they are below grade level, and the green is at or above grade level with all the other colors matching up. At the very end of the video, I have a link, a help desk link, which right here, I don't think you can click on the benchmarks, but it is in the help desk at some point. And then these are the supplies you would need. Now, I always did a computer, so it just automatically graded it for me, and I never had to go back and enter it into the computer. I always had a paper copy for the students, but I used my iPad or a laptop or something that I could have in front of me and grade it and enter it into the computer as soon as the student was reading. So you can do it online where a student would have a computer in front of them and you have a computer in front of you. This is what I did, the mixed format, or you could have paper copies for both of you. If you have paper copies for both of you, that means that you would have to go back and enter them into the computer manually just to make sure you had everything done correctly, and then it would score it for you. All right, so this is what the help desk is. If you had any questions or needed a little more help with something that I didn't explain just now, you would be able to go to this website, and it gives you benchmarks. It gives you a slew of different information to use. So what I'm going to do now in my video is go to my Renaissance STAR page, and I'll show you how you would go about administering the test. So this is what your typical Renaissance page looks like. Two different ways you can get to it. You can just click on STAR Reading, or you can come down to the STAR CBM Reading. And for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just focusing on the reading portion of it. So if you clicked on Reading, and you went to your record book, it brings up this page. So I'm going to click down to my demo that I have set up, STAR demo. Now this is where you would see your reading results. If we had any reading results for STAR, they would be in here. Now, to give my test, I want to click over here where it says CBM English Assessments. And I don't think I said this, but CBM stands for Curriculum-Based Materials, meaning that it's going to be grade appropriate based off of the standards. All right, so I've used this demo page before for some other, or for the spring in-service that I gave, that Tanya and I gave, but so we see some information here. So if I went to, let's see, Daffy Demo, and I wanted to see what their letter naming was, I can click here, and I see two different results. Again, this is from the same in-service that we gave. So letter naming is really what it sounds like. The child would have a page of letters in front of them. They start up at the top and they go across, and they are just naming as many letters as they can in a minute. So I'm going to pretend that I'm giving this assessment to a child. I'm picking my mixed format because I would give the child the paper copy while I have the computer in front of me. I have tried to use this record audio using teacher device, and I don't think our system is set up for it. I don't know if that's an added function, but this does not work. All right, it tells you the form to turn to. So all of the pages are, set up. So letter naming, form 12. And then if you needed the forms, you can click on this link that comes up, and you can print out all the forms for your grade level or assessments that you would be needing. So if you have your pages ready to go, you can go ahead and click Begin Assessment. It tells you exactly what you're going to say to the student. So giving them kind of the directions of what you're going to be doing. And then, let me scooch down here. When you click begin, it will give you a few seconds to kind of get started, and then the student can start. So it says starting in 3, 2, 1. When it highlights, that's when the student can go ahead and start reading. Now, I always encourage the student to use their finger to point to it if they don't like to do that. Using a pencil, maybe pointing with the eraser, going through, and you're just, marking what they have right, what they don't have right. If they have something incorrect, you're clicking as you go. If you click something and then they come back and say, oh, that was why, you can unclick it and it's good to go. Keep going, keep going. Let's pretend they get all the way down to here. And let's go ahead and pretend, for the sake of it, that they made it all the way to the end. You click done and then click the last thing. And then it shows that they were able to finish in 47 seconds, all of it. Now, if I needed to edit it, I can always go back and edit it and maybe say, oh, nope, I was wrong. They needed more time than that. As far as I have been able to figure out, it has, the editing feature is there forever. So even if you went back and you looked at someone from a month ago and, I don't know, had realized that something was off, you could edit it even at that time. So once I click my save, it will eventually show up. It's, like everything, it says score pending. Again, very user friendly. You are able to do all kinds of options as you're going through. The trickiest part would be I don't know, just making sure that everybody's on the same page in how letter sounds are, so that you're, you know, not expecting your kids to say it one way and somebody else is expecting it a different way. The other part is this one takes a little bit of practice where the student does not have anything in front of them, but you have to give, let me just go ahead and show you. Ah, you have to give them the word, or not really the word. You're giving them 3 sounds and then they are trying to blend it together. Or I'm sorry, I reverse that. You give them the word and then they have to break the word down. So you do a couple of examples first. Like if I say mop, you would say op. If I said rat, you would say at. So you do a few practice ones, and then again, if they can do that, you move on to the assessment. And this might require a little bit of, again, listening very carefully. So this one is one of those assessments where you really want to be kind of in a quiet area when you're doing it with them, because you have to get pretty close and personal to hear their answers sometimes and make sure that they're saying the right letter sounds. Let's just pretend that. And it, again, really pretty user friendly. And then see how when we come back, we see that Daffy Demo, their score is up, and you were able to see how they did. Now, the fact that it's in gray means that it's like probably not grade level anymore, or it might just mean that it's going to take a few minutes for that color to show up. But when there's a check mark, that means it's green and they have met the benchmark. Oral reading passages, again, if you just kind of play around with it, you can this one I think is set up where it's, if you teach 3rd grade, for instance, it will only, I think you can actually see all the grade levels. I'm not actually sure now. I'd have to check that out. So going to the, again, this was what I taught myself how to do. So it's really what you're most comfortable with. If you feel strongly about having a paper copy for you to mark on and make notes, you can always come back and enter it into the computer and you can make notes for that student. So if I did this, again, all the directions, you get to a point where you don't need to read the directions anymore. You paraphrase it and you are just fine. So if a child was going through and they messed up a few of the words, and then we finish it, we say we're done, let's say that they finished there, you can come up here and type your notes. If you really wanted to say, oh, they said farmer instead of furrow, farmer for furrow, or and for neighbor, it would give you an idea, and probably teachers in the future as well, where or how they were making their mistakes. And that might help you in terms of, you know, if they're in the IAT process or whatever else may be happening. All right. So I really feel like that's kind of it. It takes a little bit of playing around, and it's really not a hard program, but it can give you a lot of really good information. So hopefully you'll give this a chance. It is there for you. So again, if you really wanted to, from your home page, you can go to your reading, or you can come down and do the STAR CBM reading, go to your record book, and it's pretty much going to pull up the same thing. Just know that these little tabs, you can get to them from just about anything. Even if I were on math, and you can see that there are math CBMs as well, but you can get to any of those things through here. You don't have to be at the home page. So hopefully this helped. I'm sure that at some point my email will be out there if you need to contact me or if you have any questions. But it's lmac@sylvaniaschools.org. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Otherwise, good luck.